On today's episode of Rare Humans, I talk with a longtime friend, Annie Hughey. She's an adventurer, free skier, Alaskan trailblazer, and a pure soul. We talk about her most recent adventures, dealing with fear, friends along the way, and her future plans. I hope you enjoy today's podcast. Hello, Annie. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Evan?
I'm doing good. It's been a long time.
It has. I was before this call, I was thinking about I have this core memory with you and your brother. I don't know where we were like outside some baseball field somewhere, and I remember I like jumped into the field and got like yelled at by everybody. And for some reason that's like some weird core memory that I had that with you when we were kids.
And my brother and I were like, get off the field. No.
Yeah. I think I like tripped. I think I was like super embarrassed.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, well, we actually grew up in the same old town, Spokane, Washington.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful Pacific Northwest. And you are an amazing, talented skier, adventurer. You have one of the cutest dogs I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, cheeky.
What have you been up to? Give me the rundown.
Yeah, this year has been pretty crazy for me. I was just talking to my mom about it this morning, how it's kind of been a year of kind of self-discovery and feeling like what I've been putting out into the universe has kind of been coming back. And I think for a long time, I've kind of felt like I was giving so much to other people in different relationships and kind of felt like I was kind of left high and dry a lot of the times. And this year I kind of made a leap and moved to Alaska. I was up in Valdez. Valdez is like the free ride, heli-skiing capital of the world. It's super rad up there. And I just was totally embraced and kind of held by the Alaskan community. And oh my gosh, people in Alaska are so kind and so community focused. Like I was completely blown away by the relationships I made there. And yeah, I'm moving actually next month full time to Alaska. And I'm super stoked. It'll be really fun, a little nervous, but it'll be cool.
Congratulations. That's amazing. So you got into it. Now you're going to be moving there full time. You enjoyed it. What were some of the things that initially you loved so much about that community and the culture up in Alaska?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like what you were saying earlier about kind of like everyday people who are out there getting after it and building community with other people and supporting each other. They're totally like shirt off your back kind of people up there. And yeah, I had people helping me out in ways that I hadn't even expressed. Like, I think for me, I've really struggled to ask people for help, or I've always felt like a burden to other people. But up there, it kind of reshaped how I view friendships and how I view myself as a member of a community. I was living in Seattle for about 3 years, and that's kind of what got me into the backcountry slash mountaineering community. But I never felt like I was part of the community. I think because it's so big in Seattle, there's so many people getting after it. It can kind of be hard to find your place and find your people. And so instantly up there, I felt like I was already a part of the community, and they're super welcoming to outsiders. So I never felt like that localism that you'll see in mountain towns. And yeah, people are just kind. They're super awesome. And they go after it really hard, but they're like low key about it, you know?
I love that. Yeah, that's the biggest thing about community is, when we have billions of humans roaming the planet, we still have to keep in mind that, 100 years ago when we had our tribes and our communities, it was very small, and like we knew everyone's names, and we
Yeah.
we looked out for your neighbors. And now, even for me living in a place like LA, you're surrounded by millions of people, but you feel like you're alone in a way, because like
Mm.
everybody's just in their own world and you don't know anything. So I think that's cool. That's amazing that you get to experience such a great small community. Everybody's looking out for each other, and you guys are having fun together. I mean, heli skiing, all those things are amazing. Like what are some of the highlights of your previous time in Alaska? What adventures did you go on, and what things did you do? What fun did you have?
Oh my gosh, I had so much fun. It was every week was fun there. Like every week I'd be like, this is the best week of my life. And then the next week would come and it'd be like, again, the best week ever.
I love that.
I think first of all, I think the international community that I met up there was pretty crazy. Um, tons of people from South America. There's a huge South America, like Chilean, Argentinian community that comes up to AK, and then Alaskans go down to Argentina, and they're like opposite of snowbirds. They like follow the snow around the world, which is pretty sick. And they're just obviously everybody's just super stoked to be there. And so that international community was pretty sweet. And then for me, we went into Denali Park in about kind of around the solstice in June. And for me, that was like a huge kind of monumental trip because I've been kind of slowly building skills over the past few years. And that was the big combination of all of these skills I've been learning, like camping on a glacier for a while, like glacier travel, some alpine climbing, like ski mountaineering, kind of doing all those like crevasse rescue stuff. So, and I was there with like some of my favorite buddies down there, and we were just, smoking spliffs and having a good time on the glacier, making friends with other people camped out there. And yeah, like that was probably the most like epic trip I've ever been on. Like it was actually like considered an expedition. So for someone who's like pretty new to the sport, it was pretty awesome.
You're getting in the thick of it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love, like, whenever I see one of your stories pop up, I'm like, what is she up to now? That's amazing. Well, I want to go through your Instagram. I know that's where you kind of post a lot of your stuff really quick. I'm going to share my
Sure.
screen and we can go through some things and just kind of, if you want, stop me when I'm hovering over a photo, and if you have a cool story from it or just the adventure, because like I said, you have a lot of cool stuff on there.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me bring up my screen here. Here we go. All right. Can you see that?
I can. Yeah. That's me.
That's you. Okay, let's go down here. Where's the Alaska era? I think probably a lot of this is, right? This is all from.
That's yeah. So just for context, like when about this time last year, I was like had just gone through a breakup. I moved out of Seattle. I was kind of bummed out. I felt like Seattle didn't feel fun or like comfortable for me anymore. I love the Cascades, but I was like, man, I have too many memories here that kind of make me sad. So going to Alaska was like pretty big, epic change for me. And so when I went up there, I literally only had 2 weeks of guaranteed housing. That's my buddy Tanner. He's awesome. He's really into. I actually picked him up. I picked him up on the side of the road. He was hitchhiking with his buddy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah, and we were fast friends. He's awesome. He actually lives down in Newport Beach. He's a surfer too. These are my Chilean brothers, Seba and Diego. I adore these two. They totally reshaped how I view like friendships. Like they're some of the warmest people I've ever met. They're always down for fun and they're super inclusive. Like kind of going back to what I was saying about feeling like a burden to people, like, oh my gosh, these guys never made me feel like that ever. They're like, everybody's invited. It's always a good time, always smiling, just my favorite people in the world.
This picture is just radiating love.
Right? I know, it's Diego, Dieguito. I love Diego so much.
So these are some intense pictures. I mean, you guys are literally like climbing the side of a massive mountain. I mean, I am a pretty intermediate skier. I can do a few cool tricks and sorts, but when it comes to this stuff, I think this is true skiing. I mean, you have to have no fear. Here's a cool video. If we can, I guess it probably won't let me play it on my show. Oh, there we go. Is this you right here?
That is me. Yeah, this was me and Seba kind of later in the season. I was stoked. This is actually one of the most classic lines in Thompson Pass. It's called a mountain called Python. And I wasn't sure if I'd be able to ski it because I didn't really have like the partners, and I was, my first season in the range. So just kind of like getting familiar with it. But Seba, he's actually an international mountain guide from Chile. He's been a North Face athlete for 12 years. He's super badass, and just like one of the silliest people I know.
There he is.
Him rolling a split on the summit.
Giving me some Travis Pastrana energy right there. I love that.
His hair is always crazy. But
there's you right there.
Yeah, so we decided that we were going to ski some of the more classic, like bigger lines in Thompson Pass together. And so for me, it was dope to have, someone who's like my brother, but also like a really big mentor for me in the mountains, because he's so experienced and he has like the highest level of accreditation you can in mountain guiding. So yeah, like super crazy dude. I'm actually gonna meet up with him next month. We're driving up to Alaska together, and he's gonna teach me how to ice climb. I'm pretty excited about it.
Wow. See, the great thing about, being human is that there are other humans out there that just want to simply have fun and teach you
Yes.
how to be a better human and have fun too. At the end of the day, a lot of people are caught up in their own stresses and lives and all that. But I think what really is appealing about you and your lifestyle and doing these things is like, it also is helping you learn more about yourself. I'm sure being in these situations of fear and not knowing if you're there or ready enough or good enough, like that's like the purest form of self-discovery. I mean, you're literally on the side of a cliff, with like one of the like most accredited, mountain guides. And so I think it's cool that you get to have these experiences. Oh, I got to touch up on the dog here. Give me some doggo stories.
Oh my gosh, Mochi is the greatest adventure partner ever. She's right here. She's looking at me. She's like, "What's up, mom?" She lives and breathes Alaska. And honestly, I was thinking about it. I was like, she's the best way I've ever made friends because, you walk into a parking lot and you got this like adorable little creature running around, and she doesn't, get social anxiety. So she walks up to anybody and makes friends with everybody. So she's the best. I love her. She's makes me laugh all day long.
This video is amazing.
I know.
She's making her own trails.
She tears it up. People are always like, "Wait, she goes skiing with you? How does that work?" I'm like, "Oh man, she's a better skier than me."
I love that. That's so cool. Here, here's a great picture of those are the
Yeah.
Valdez Mountains behind you.
Yeah. That's it's the Chugach Mountain Range, and that's Thompson Pass. It's my favorite place in the world. Oh my gosh.
Amazing. Okay, what else should I pop up on? I mean, there's so much great stuff here. Is this you catching some air?
Yes, this is my buddy Sandro. I met him at an album release party in Valdez. He's like a high altitude filmmaker. He's super dope. Climbed K2 this summer. Like he took some really cute photos of me and Mochi skiing together.
Wow, I love this.
Yeah.
So you said he's a mountain photographer, a filmmaker?
Yeah, he did the drone footage for 14 Peaks, if you're familiar with that
Oh,
film.
wow.
Yeah, he's super badass, like this hilarious British dude who just loves a party, biggest extrovert I've ever met in my life. Yeah, he's super awesome. He'd be a fun person to interview for sure.
I was just gonna say I'm writing down right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna remind you after this podcast because
I
I gotta
can
get him
connect
on
you
here.
guys. Yeah, he's a hoot. He's absolutely hilarious, dude.
I love that. So have you heli skied yet, or have you done
I
anything
have
of sorts?
not
Or
yet actually. I tried this past season, but it's pretty expensive and a little bit you have to kind of plan for it.
yeah,
I'm not a huge planner. I'm more of a like, oh, tomorrow I want to do this thing. So lately my goal actually I'm actually trying to work for a heli ski company this winter. I have the long-term goal of heli ski guiding, which I've only recently been saying out loud because it feels like a really big scary dream. But yeah, it's a goal definitely to get into the heli, but I would really like to be on the guiding side of things and yeah, take people on some epic adventures.
that's amazing. There's nothing better than like a fun guide. I went whitewater rafting when I was younger, and that was like one of the first times I'd done anything, we can call it, I guess, extreme, but
Oh, dude,
I
that's
was
extreme.
I was young, and his name was Sunshine, and
Whoa.
he just was like this, just kind of like how you described your friends that you're making there, just radiated love, like not a single ounce of ego or fear or hatred in their body. Like they don't even know those words.
Yeah.
And I think that what's so important about an experience in life is it being accompanied by someone in that position. Like that's such a unique position for a human to be in, because like you want somebody to have a core memory. You don't want them to just be like, oh, you're here, cool, let's do it, get out of here next.
Yeah.
Like every single person that they encounter is moved by this experience. So that's cool if you end up getting in that position, because you can have a lasting impact that will provide core memories for the rest of people's lives. So that's amazing.
Totally.
So I want to one of the topics I wanted to touch on too is fear.
Yeah.
whenever you look at extreme athletes or people summiting or even just doing these things, like a lot of times it comes up, people are saying like, wow, where's the fear? When does the fear kick in? When, like, I just kind of wanted to, talk about that with you, and how you've kind of moved through fear and how what it's taught about yourself and your during your journey and yeah, fear.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have a lot of conversations with friends and athletes about fear all the time. I think fear in general is a good thing. I think it makes sense from an evolutionary perspective why we have fear. Sometimes I wish I could kill my fear and get rid of it completely. But I know it's a good thing that it's there. I think specifically in rock climbing is where I probably feel the most fear, since I'm newer to rock climbing and it's a little bit more obvious what the danger is. You're like, oh, if this rope broke, I would die.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really interesting relationship I've been kind of working through specifically in rock climbing, is having to kind of sit with your fear and be like, okay, I have fear right now and I'm super scared. And everyone kind of jokes in rock climbing, you get like the Elvis legs, like your legs start like just getting really shaky.
The
And
Elvis legs, I love that.
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a huge proponent of that. Um, but yeah, the kind of sitting with it and acknowledging it and not kind of trying to run from it, and having to just kind of tell yourself like, yeah, I'm really scared, but like we have to move through this move or get to this hold or whatever, and work on your breathing and kind of understand and trust yourself. Like I was doing this big climb a couple weeks ago with one of my best friends. His name's Vincent. He's an amazing rock climber. He literally dances up rock. It's beautiful to watch him climb. But this girl came up and she like free soloed the route that we were doing. So we thought she was gonna have a partner come. She didn't have a partner. She just like went up and did it alone. And Vincent and I were talking after. We were like, wow, like, people kind of look at this sport and they'll look at people like Alex Honnold or people who free climb and they'll be like, wow, like those people are dumb, they're crazy. If they die, everyone's like, oh, serves them right, they're idiots, but
Right.
when you get closer to those sports and you kind of get closer to what that's like, you kind of grow an appreciation for that, because you're like, even though I will never climb without a rope, but you're like, wow, I can kind of see how empowering it must be to trust yourself that much, to know I have the skills and I have the physical and mental strength to be able to do this without a rope and to just like go climb whatever I want by myself. So it's pretty sick when you see people that have really mastered fear. I kind of feel like I have a baby relationship with my fear. I have a lot of stuff in skiing I'm trying to work on, and rock climbing too. But yeah, it's like pretty badass when people are like, I got this.
Totally. I actually saw, I forget where I saw it. Actually, it might have been something that you reposted, but I saw some skiers that were at the base of a summit, and their tent that they had set up had the words or had the sentence, proceed with absolute confidence. And I searched it up, and I think it was like custom made for them. It wasn't like affiliated with any brand or anything. But I just thought it was so badass that like here they were doing something so extreme and so, just like defying the odds of death, and their tent literally says proceed with absolute confidence. It's just like, it's like peak humanity. It's just like, I don't look at death, I don't look at any of those consequences. I just look at like the now and like what I'm capable of. And like you said, you use the word empowering. That's just like, yeah, it's so cool to know that like we're capable of that. So yeah, that's amazing. I mean, another thing too with you, like you had mentioned, you're going through this journey of discovering what you can do and your fear and working through that. Like, do you have any like, do you meditate, or do you do are you familiar with like Wim Hof, anything that helps you kind of elevate into, through your growth? Like, do you have any self-help tools or anything like that?
I don't know. I wish I could say that I meditate. I did a little bit of meditation in college, but I don't know. I feel like my self-discipline's not great at the moment.
You're
um,
very in the moment, right?
yeah, I'm kind of chaotic.
No, it's all good.
But I think, I mean, I was showing my mom some like videos, some skiers, and she was like, wow, the uphill looks horrible. And I was like, no, the uphill's the best because it's like that really slow pace and you're just with you and your breath and you're just, I don't know, you just kind of get in kind of like a meditative state, I'd call that. But yeah, I think that's kind of my form of meditation is when I'm in those places where I literally cannot focus on anything else other than what I'm doing in that moment. And that's kind of what rock climbing is for me. You know, when you're on the wall, there's no space in your brain for anything else. Like all you can think about is your next move and where your feet are and all those things. So I think those kind of, I really love those, being forced into those kind of corners with myself where it's just me and my physical body and my breath, and you have to be hyper focused on things.
Well, you are absolutely right in the fact that that is your form of meditation. And I think that that's something that I had to learn too, is like the term meditation, you instantly think like being quiet with your thoughts and breath work and stuff. But meditation can come in many forms, and that like what you just explained, when you're on the rock or when you're at that, climb up the mountain and it's like you're hearing the snow pack down and you can feel your heartbeat, and like those are like, it's kind of like Ram Dass, be here now, like you are in the purest form of like being in the present moment. No, that's really cool. I've always kind of wanted to learn more about how, extreme athletes find time to just like, I guess you guys are in it all the time, but find those little moments of just like, oh, I'm here. This is like amazing. I'm grateful.
Yeah, yeah. And I really want to be incorporating different types of sport, I guess, but more like yoga. I love yoga, but again, I'm not super consistent with it. That's something I really want to get better at because I feel it then too. It's not quite the same for me, I think, because my brain gets like a little scattered. I'll sometimes be in a pose and start thinking about something else, but I do like how it makes my body feel. So there's definitely a lot of different ways to incorporate that.
Awesome. Well, I also, so one of the other things too I wanted to chat with you about is some of the I feel like we're in an era right now where greed is becoming, it's increasing quite a bit. Even in my industry, people care more about um, profits than they do the experience of other humans, and
Yeah.
providing, opportunities, equal opportunities, stuff like that. And I think you had posted a few times a few months ago about how the ski industry in particular is kind of taking a trend towards maybe being a little bit more greedy than they should, with like things like the icon pass and rising costs. I mean, when I was a kid, skiing at Schweitzer in Sandpoint, Idaho, I think a pass, I mean, I had a season pass, but I think to ski it was like $50 or $55.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now I went there last year and it was like almost $100. It was
yeah.
$100. It was over
Oh, yeah.
$100.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think that getting outside and skiing and being in nature and skiing a mountain is an experience that I wish everyone could have the opportunity to do. But if you can't afford $1,000 season pass, and you only want to go a few times, it's hard to justify between all the gear and all that. So I wanted to talk with you about how, like, what are some things that you're seeing in the industry that maybe need some recalibrating or changing.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you nailed it. There's, I mean, the corporatization of skiing. I think in general, we live in like a corporatocracy. I don't know if that's a word, but
Yeah.
corporations rule the day, which really sucks.
More
And
power than government these days.
oh, totally. Yeah, they run everything. And so yeah, we've seen that with skiing for sure. And I think personally, I feel like a really strong resistance to that because for me, skiing growing up was something that was a huge kind of like piecemeal thing, like my parents had 3 kids and I'm super fortunate they put us in like ski school when I was like in 5th grade, that 5th grade pass, like super grateful for programs like that. Like the canned food drive nights, we'd be up there. Toyota-thon, we'd be up
I
there.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. The canned
Yeah.
good drive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But so having a season pass, I remember like mowing lawns, trying to like get whatever I could to kind of ragtag it together because I just loved it so much. But seeing it become more and more inaccessible, like I don't even know how like a 15-year-old would mow lawns in the summer to be able to afford, $1,000 ski pass. Like there's no way. It's just absurd unless you're charging $100 a lawn. Like how do you do that? And so I had an icon pass when I lived in Seattle for about a year. And then the next year, they basically doubled the price of it to ski at Crystal Mountain. And I was like, all right, I'm out. Like, luckily, I had learned how to backcountry ski, and that was super liberating because it's like, all right, anywhere there's snow, I can go out with my skis and go do that, which is a huge privilege in its own right, too, right? So being able to have the freedom and the resources in knowledge and have some training in avalanche understanding and knowing when I'm an avalanche trainer or not, super key to go out into the backcountry. But I kind of was like, all right, I love resorts, I love skiing at resorts, but I kind of only want to support resorts that are independent and are not on Icon Pass, not on Vail Resorts Epic Pass. So um shout out to the to the people that
Yeah,
are
here's the
doing it.
plug.
Yeah,
Plug them, plug
yeah.
them, plug them.
Yeah, Mount Baker, we love you. Yeah,
uh,
so there's only a couple that are kind of staying true, and one of them up in Alaska is Alyeska. They're awesome. I'm stoked to see you there this winter. But yeah, it's really hard, I think, for everybody. And I don't know. I'm definitely over how corporate everything has gotten.
Yeah, and one of the things that you mentioned too is you're grateful that your parents got you skiing early, and I can
Yeah.
relate because we didn't really know at the time. When you're a kid, you're just kind of going moving through life. You're not like you have your interests, yeah, but your parents really are responsible for like a lot of your experiences as a young
Yeah.
kid. And having that condo and like being able to go ski Schweitzer, I didn't realize how lucky and at the time I was. I mean, I thought that was just normal for people to go up and ski, but then looking back at it, I'm like, wow, like this is, that was such a great era, every winter going up every weekend.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I want every kid and even adult to be able to go up there and experience that and not feel like they're, having to donate a kidney just to go up
I
and
know.
get some ski
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the whole corporate world is that's a whole nother discussion in itself. But I think that when you have people in suits who don't understand the world that they're governing in a way, it's tough. If everyone in any industry could run their own companies the way that they wanted to and structure pricing and stuff like that, I feel like everyone would benefit. But
Yeah.
that's in a perfect world, right?
Yeah. The one thing I will say about that though is I have seen a huge uptick in the amount of small organizations that little people are creating for their community to support access to the outdoors. So there's a bunch in
Amazing.
Seattle. I see them all over, and I see more and more all the time, just like kind of people our age, people of like, regular old folks that are like, hey, I love this sport. I would love for other people to try this sport too. Cause I truly believe the outdoors like are for everybody, and that it's a soulful experience to be in the outdoors and to have that spiritual connection with nature. And I think everybody needs to experience it because it's truly the best, most life-giving thing you can experience. But yeah, tons of awesome organizations. It's almost like mutual aid in a way. It's community care, like getting
Mhm.
people out who might not have been able to afford it. So there's a lot of scholarships, there's a lot of people around that are doing that, and so I would encourage people to check out what's in your area if you're thinking about it. There's a lot, people are doing a lot of wonderful work.
I love it. Well, what are some things that you're looking forward to? You said you're getting ready for a big move to Alaska. Do you have anything planned, or like what are some things that you're looking forward to most when you get back there?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have my soul sister Athena. She's amazing. She's a free ride coach up at Alyeska. Huge, full of life chick. I love her so much. We were skiing down in Chile together. We're gonna train a lot this winter. We both want to pursue a career in ski guiding, and we're kind of both at the same certification level. She's a way sicker skier than me, but I'm stoked to train with her and kind of work on our avalanche training. And I think we're going to join an adult ski racing league, even though both of us grew up kind of with that mindset of like, oh, ski racing sucks. But we've acknowledged in our adulthood that ski racers are the best skiers on the mountain, unfortunately. So we're
Just
gonna,
hauling ass.
yeah, yeah. Those guys have no fear.
Oh, even watching like the Olympics, and even when I was a kid going up to Schweitzer when they would close off portions of the mountain on those race days. I would just sit on the side of the mountain and like drink a beer and just watch. And I'm like, how do you, because there's times where I'm, when you kind of got to get some speed down a hill to catch a cat track or something, and I'm hauling ass and I'm sitting there tucking my deals in there, and I'm like, wow, if I like catch an edge, like I might be dead.
It's
Like
over.
it's over. So to see those people probably going twice as fast as I was going,
Yeah.
it's extremely impressive. No,
Yes.
well, awesome. What are some things? I know it might be kind of a you know loaded question, but for those kids that are out there, do you have like what are some things that you maybe want to say to them, or some advice, or even just some things to look out for as they begin their journey?
Yeah, I think this year was one of the biggest years I took the most risks, just showing up alone places. I mean, I did have Mochi, but showing up alone.
Got to have the guard
and-
dog.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, emotional support. Yeah, just kind of showing up alone and being taken care of by the places that I showed up. And a lot of people respect you for showing up alone. Like I had so many people in Alaska that'd be like, "Wait, you just came here and didn't know anybody?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, is that weird? Like, oh, I thought, yeah. But they're all like, damn, like respect. And it's pretty cool how communities will just kind of open their arms to you. I experienced that down in Chile too. I went down there alone. I knew some people I was gonna go see, but yeah, it's been pretty rewarding for me this past year to just kind of take those risks and go into new spaces and just show up authentically and see, how that plays out for you. And I think honestly, it's been the most life-giving experience for me this past year doing that. So I would encourage everybody, if you're like, hey, I kind of want to do this thing, it's kind of scary, kind of alone in it, do it. Like, it's okay to be alone. You won't be alone when you get there.
I love it. Well, Annie, thank you so much. This has been so great hearing about all your adventures. If you haven't already, go and follow her and watch it. It's a movie. Like I literally every time I see a new story pop up, I'm like, amazing.
You're the best, dude. I
So
love following your creative journey too. You're
thank
awesome.
you.
You
Thank
inspire
you
me.
so much. I appreciate you. Well, have so much fun in Alaska. Keep enjoying life, and you are an inspiration. So I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you taking the time to talk today.
Of course. Thank you.
Maybe we'll do a part two a year into your official Alaska
Oh,
residency.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd love that.
Awesome. Well, Annie, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Evan.